All right, welcome in Capricorn and Capricorn placements. This is your beginning to mid-August 2026 reading. This reading goes from August 1st through the 15th of 2026, and it is intended for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements. All right, so we're going to get a couple oracles and then get into tarot. See what Spirit needs you to know, what you maybe can expect here. As with all collective readings, please take what resonates for you and leave what doesn't for someone else. If you do feel like roles can be reversed and it resonates that way, then by all means, feel free to do so. And if you're feeling that it's not resonating at all, please check another placement. All right. So Archangel Michael, Holy Spirit, Holy Angels, what do you have for Capricorn and Capricorn placements for the time period of August 1st through the 15th, 2026, please? Okay, let's see here. Okay. We have children, okay, so responsibilities, childhood, immaturity, and innocence. We also have options that came out. Doing them, juggling connections, addictions, and player. I think I saw another card that flipped over. Let me just look here real quick. Okay, yeah. And we have emotions. In and out, clashing like waves. Okay. I don't always take 3 cards from the Oracle, but I was guided to today. So, all right. So Spirit, as far as the overall energy here for Capricorn and Capricorn placements from August 1st through the 15th, what do you need us to know? What is the energy? What is the overall message here? What's going on? Let's see. Okay. We've got the 10 of Wands. We have the Chariot. Okay. We've got the 3 of Wands. We have the 4 of Swords, and we have the Magician. Okay, all of those cards fell out all at once. At the bottom is the Hanged Man. Okay. So as far as the overall energy here, I feel like, maybe you all feel very burdened right now. Okay. I mean, I know that we all have different things on our plates at all times. Life unfortunately hands us things where we have to multitask, and we, most likely feel burdened, sometimes even on a daily basis, okay, just because of responsibilities. But I feel like maybe there's a connection that you have, whether it's someone that I feel like maybe it could be someone that you're in separation with, but they could be in your life as far as like maybe minimal contact, something like that. But this connection with this person has placed a significant amount of burden on you. Okay. On top of all the other, things that are in your life. All right. And I feel that even if, maybe you did separate yourself from this person, that there is distance here of some sort. I feel like the burden has not lifted yet. It's almost like it's lingering. It's still like a weight on you of some sort. Okay. And I feel like, for the majority of you, if not all of you, you're like ready for this weight to go away. You're ready for it to be lifted. You just want it to be done and over with, with the Chariot and the 3 of Wands coming out again, I feel like you're ready to move on. You're ready to move past this. And you could be looking toward the future. And the thing is that even though, you're trying to move forward, you're trying to look toward the future, you feel like you're doing everything possible that you need to be doing. There's still something that, is burdening you here with this 10 of Wands potentially. There's still something lingering. I don't know if it's lack of closure or if there's still an energetic tie that between you and this person, but there's something here. And I feel like it might have to do with these emotions that you've had for this person. That this was a very intense connection. And, maybe there was something here about the emotional intensity as well, that it's difficult to just detach from that, you know? So with the Chariot and the Three of Wands being here as well, I feel, these are both cards that can indicate distance, space, you know? So I feel like, again, you have potentially put some kind of distance or space between you and this person, whoever this is or was for you. And that, that distance could be physical distance, it could be energetic distance, it could be emotional distance, it could be, any of those things. It could be all of them. Okay. You've done whatever you feel you've needed to try to move forward and look toward the future, after dealing with whatever this is. Because, like I said, it placed a significant burden on you. And I feel like you're just wanting to lift that burden. You're wanting to get rid of it. Okay. I feel like you are going through the healing process. And that's, again, within this energy where you are just trying to move forward. You're doing the best you can every day to, like I said, look toward the future, put one foot in front of the other, and you've embraced the lessons that you needed to from what this, situation or circumstance had, handed you. You're doing the best that you can to learn these lessons so that you can transform yourself and move forward. Okay. Now I feel like maybe with the Four of Swords that things are taking a little longer for this burden to lift than you were hoping. That maybe, these emotions are still lingering within you. And it's something that you're wanting to move past if possible. Okay. So I do feel that you all are trying to manifest, like I said, moving forward here. You're trying to manifest new things in your life. You're trying to manifest moving forward or whatever you feel is best for you. Okay. And I do feel that with this Magician being here, you understand that you do have all the tools to make this happen for yourself. Okay. So you're doing whatever you can to try to move in that direction. Okay. With the Hanged Man being here on the bottom, I do feel that, again, that you maybe have felt that you have been in this stuck and stagnant energy for way too long. I feel like maybe this person, when you were in a connection with them, that, they kind of kept you stuck and stagnant for a certain length of time, however long that time was for you. And so maybe during that time period, you have gotten a different perspective and you're like, I need to just move forward from this. This is not healthy for me. This is not right. I don't feel good about this situation. I need to get out of this stuck and stagnant. Things are not moving forward with this person. They're not progressing. And so I feel like, you probably chose yourself. Like I said, you're manifesting new, you're manifesting moving forward and hopefully getting rid of this burden or lifting some of this burden from this person and healing yourself. But I still feel that, maybe there's a part of you that's still feeling like things are still stuck in a certain way, and you're wanting to get past this. So, yeah. And, the thing is, I look, beneath this, I feel like maybe you felt like this person was your person. You felt like this person would be your 10 of Pentacles, the end of the line, the person you grew old with. That's probably why the emotions are still there. Maybe you talked about this with this person. Maybe they future faked you and made you believe that that was going to happen. I'm not sure, you all have been through possibly different situations with this person, but I feel for the majority of you that there's, you had a reason to believe that you would have the 10 of Pentacles with this person, family, stability, security, financial abundance, basically everything that your heart could want. This person is someone you wanted to grow old with. Yeah, and maybe, maybe like I said, you've communicated this. Maybe things were communicated from this person to you that that's what, where things were leading, and they just never got there. They just stayed in this stuck and stagnant energy, unfortunately. All right. So as far as signs so far, we've got fire and air. We also have Cancer. We've got Gemini and Virgo and Pisces. Okay. All right. So, Spirit, what can you tell us about Capricorn's potential challenges or difficulties they might be facing between August 1st and the 15th, please? What are their potential challenges or difficulties? What can they be aware of that they might be facing? Okay. So we've got the 9 of Swords, the 6 of Wands, Temperance, the Ace of Swords, and the 7 of Swords. At the bottom is Strength. Okay. So as far as the potential challenges, I feel like, this person most likely has put you under a significant amount of stress here and anxiety. Okay. For a lot of you, maybe you've had sleepless nights because of this situation, whether it's something that's happening currently for you, or it's something that you've been dealing with in the past, when you were, in the thick of things with this person. I feel like the fact that this person did this to you, to get past this and to let things go where they're not affecting you like this, can be pretty difficult. Okay, because obviously there's something here that's still posing a significant amount of burden for you, and you're trying to heal this and move forward, but there's something here that's still causing you anxiety. It could also be that, every time, you think of this person, or just the idea of maybe them coming back into your life or something like that, maybe that is something as well that causes you some sort of anxiety, not knowing what the future might bring. The fact that this was most likely a pretty intense connection, it probably did a number on you. And, to get past that emotionally, I mean, that's significant here. Okay. I feel that with the 6 of Wands being here, feeling like you can be successful maybe in another connection, because, if this connection was something where it was so different, where, you really did feel strongly in your soul that this was your person, and that this was someone you were supposed to grow old with, the fact of thinking about being with someone else and it being successful in the same way, that might be something that you don't even want to think about right now, you know um, but then again, after all this person has put you through, the idea of possibly being successful if they return is something that you might not, feel is the easiest thing either. Okay. Now, maybe this person, whoever this was, maybe they are someone who needs attention from other people. Okay, I'm getting that download. Take it only if it resonates for you. But if this person is someone who maybe was very flirtatious, or someone who, you know, just likes the attention from other people, where they, would talk to anybody just to get just to get attention, and to be, get some sort of validation, things like that. It kind of took away from what they potentially had with you. Maybe you felt like, hey, well, if they're giving all this attention to others and they're looking for attention from other people, then, I guess I'm just an option to them. I'm just one of however many, so maybe that's, again, something here that's hard to get past, and it's hard to not be stressed out about. Okay. With Temperance being here, I feel like, you really do want peace and balance and harmony here. I feel like you want it, first of all, in your life. You want to get rid of this additional burden. You want to get rid of all burden, basically. I also feel, though, that with Temperance, I feel like you want all of these things, ultimately with this person. There's still part of you that really does want this with this person. You want, oh, sorry about that. That was my stomach. I guess I might need to eat something. Sorry about that. If you could hear that. But you want this sense of peace and balance and harmony with this person. Deep down, I feel like you really do want that, because, with the 10 of Pentacles, if you do resonate with the fact that you thought that you would have everything with this person, then it's really difficult to give up on that. Okay. So the fact of wanting this peace and balance and harmony, but feeling like it's an uphill battle, that might be so, extremely difficult for you right now. Okay. I do feel like with the Ace of Swords that you want truth and honesty here. That maybe you feel like this was withheld from you. That maybe you do not have the honest truth about this person, or what was maybe going on behind your back, or, like I said, what, anything that they might have been keeping from you. Because I feel like maybe this person wasn't their authentic self, at least not completely with you. And I feel like, part of you wants the truth, but part of you might be like, I don't even know if I want to know at this point. It's almost like you might even have a fear of knowing the truth. So, whatever you resonate with, I'm getting all, multiple energies here. But the fact of the matter with the Ace of Swords being here in the challenge, number one, I feel like this person hasn't been honest with you. So the fact of, or the idea of you trusting this person again might be extremely difficult, because I feel like you probably don't trust this person. But like I said, even if this person does come in and bring you the truth, I feel like a lot of you won't know, if this person is being honest with you or not. And so, maybe part of you is like, well, what's the point at this, at this stage here? Because I don't even know if I would believe this person. It's like you want the truth, but if they come and tell you what they deem is the truth, I mean, you might not even believe them. And it's possibly because, this person has maybe lied to you in the past, because we do have the Seven of Swords here. So this person has most likely lied to you. They betrayed you. They deceived you somehow. Okay. They could have even had a strategy involved here that backfired. So that could be something as far as making you an option, or making you feel like an option to satisfy or validate something within them, like a wounding, where they feel wanted, they feel needed. I mean, that kind of goes along again with the idea of possibly that this person is attention seeking from whoever will give it to them. And it's satisfying a need within them. And it's wounding that needs healing, basically. So, it is possible that this person made you feel like an option, whether they did have options or not. And it was so that you would maybe chase them to validate them, or maybe they tried to make you jealous or something like that. They could have had someone else on the side, possibly. I don't have any cards that indicate that right now, but it is very possible. But, I feel like this person, like I said, if they had a strategy, it backfired. But the fact that they even had a strategy and were not straightforward with you, I mean, it's like, how do you get past that? You know, if they treated you like that in the past, how do you know it's not going to happen again? And I do feel that for a lot of you, that this person did lie to you and they obviously betrayed you. Okay. So on the bottom of the deck, we've got strength. And I do feel for at least some of you out there, this person could have been acting out of pride and ego. Okay. I also feel that if there has been time that's passed here between when you separated from this person and now, then, you know, I feel like maybe this person's pride and ego has kept them from you and from bringing the truth to you. I also feel that this person has issues with self-confidence and self-esteem, which is most likely why they had some kind of strategy going on here and why they can't be their authentic self. And so this person held back from you. And for all of those reasons, you know, those are things that obviously posed an obstacle here between you and this person. And it's, you know, it's causing a difficulty here for you to think and, you know, positively about this person and this connection right now. Okay. With the moon being behind that, this person has obviously been hiding things from you. There are hidden things here that this person has been holding back. They've been holding back whatever they've been hiding, you know? And the reason is they've been hiding a lot of these things because they know that, you know, you will most likely detach from them. You won't be happy about whatever this moon energy is, and you'll probably cut them out of your life. But the thing is that I feel like you already have cut them out anyway. And if you haven't, you're on the way to doing that. You know, maybe they just didn't want to make you mad or like have an argument with you. But I mean, I already feel like you've already kind of been in this swords energy possibly and detached yourself from them as it is. You know, I feel like, you know, maybe you've already detached from your emotion, you know, or tried to, and you're trying to make decisions more from your logical, you know, mind here to move forward. So unfortunately, you know, this person feels that by holding these things back, they were hoping to keep you in their life, you know, keep you in their life. And unfortunately for this person, that backfired. And it's also possible that the longer that this person goes without bringing you the truth and trying to make things right, the further away you're getting. You know, so with this, you know, children card here, I feel like this person, I'm getting, you know, an immature energy out of this person. I feel like this person is potentially, they could be younger, but I do feel like they're immature. Okay. So as far as signs, let's see. So we had fire and air. Now we have, wow, it's still fire and air technically. I mean, Cancer is technically water, so you can count that. And then Virgo is here with the Magician, so you can count that as earth. But technically, the minor arcana that are here, it's just fire and air, basically. Okay. We also have Sagittarius energy. We have Leo, and we have Pisces. All right. So, Spirit, what is your advice? What is your guidance for Capricorn and Capricorn placements from August 1st through the 15th, please? What is your advice? What is your guidance? What do we need to know here? All right. We've got the Four of Pentacles. We have the Emperor. We have the Six of Cups. The Eight of Wands. Okay. And the High Priestess, which I've said, I think you're the only one other than another I don't remember which zodiac sign got the high priestess in the guidance, but I was saying I love seeing that. Um, I love seeing that in the guidance. We have death under the deck. We also have the Four of Cups and the Two of Wands being here as well. Okay. So as far as your advice here, I feel like Spirit is actually um, saying that by you holding back from this person, that you're actually forcing them to take control here. Okay. I feel like, maybe this person wanted to be chased, and maybe this person wanted you to reach out first. Maybe this person has issues with accountability, and they knew that by reaching out first, they have to put their pride and ego to the side, and they would have to outwardly take accountability for their actions. And maybe they were hoping they wouldn't have to do that if you reached out first. Okay. So I feel like on one hand here with these two cards being here, that by you holding back from this person, you're kind of forcing them into this emperor energy where, they are being pushed or urged to take control here of this situation. Okay. Now, again, with the emperor, I do feel that, again, this person could be acting out of pride and ego, and they could also have control issues where maybe they always feel like they need to be in control, and they felt a lack of control here in this situation, which kind of sent them a little bit of spiraling. But that aside, that I almost feel like that's a side note that Spirit wanted you to know. I do feel that Spirit still wants you to hold back from this person. Okay, for right, at least for right now, hold back from this person. If you were thinking about reaching out, do not do that. I feel like Spirit, even though the Emperor was here, I did have that message as far as this person was concerned, but I also feel that the Emperor is your energy as well. And male or female, as we know, doesn't matter the gender here. I feel like Spirit wants you to embrace this energy within yourself. Okay. So try to hold back, even though part of you is still holding on. You feel like part of you is still holding on, and it probably has to do with emotion. Spirit wants you to embody and embrace this emperor energy, okay? Where you are taking control of your life, you're taking control of the direction of your life, and you are someone that's, you're making things happen for yourself, okay? And I feel like for a lot of you, you're already kind of embracing this. I was getting that sense just with that first round of cards that came out, with the Chariot and the Three of Wands and the Four of Swords and the Magician, basically. I felt like you want to move forward, you're looking toward the future, you're doing what you need to as far as healing, and you're trying to make things happen for yourself. And that's exactly Emperor energy, in my opinion. Okay. So I feel, and I just got chills. Yeah. Spirit wants you to just take control of your life if you haven't already, and just keep on moving. Yes, there's going to be a part of you that's still hanging on to this person. Okay, possibly even just energetically, because it's hard to get rid of emotion when you've had, especially when you feel like this was your person. I mean, you can get into Swords energy as much as you can, and cut off this person because logically they don't serve you any longer. All they're doing is hindering you from your best life and moving you forward. But there's still a part of you, because I feel like you have a special place in your heart for this person, and it's hard to let that go. It is. So, and I feel like Spirit understands that. But that aside, Spirit wants you to try to hold back. Okay. At least for right now. Like if you felt like you needed to reach out or something like that, hold back. Okay. I feel like You might be thinking of the past. You might be thinking of the good times that you had with this person. Maybe you're even feeling, that this is that this connection has certain patterns within it, or something that you're relating to other relationships and things. And maybe, you are connecting dots as far as your healing, that could be possible. And if that's the case, I feel like spirit is saying, absolutely keep doing that. I also feel with the Six of Cups here that the fact of this person being almost pushed to take control of their life and of what they feel is best, I feel like this person is reminiscing on the past as well. And this person could be coming in looking for reconciliation with you. So just be mindful of that, okay? Because I do feel with the Eight of Wands that they are going to reach out to you. Now, when this person reaches out, I feel like that's not necessarily, spirit saying hold back from talking to this person. That's up to you. I just feel like maybe there are at least a few of you out there. This might not be all of you, but at least a few of you that feel like you want to reach out to this person for one reason or another. Maybe you felt, an intuitive feeling. Maybe you had a dream about it. I'm not sure. But I do feel that at least for a few of you out there that you have this feeling like you want to reach out, and spirit is saying hold back. Okay. But I do feel like you both are kind of holding on to one another energetically. And so, this person, with the Six of Cups, it could just be that this person wants your forgiveness, um, and you can forgive, but not forget what they've done, because forgetting is almost like allowing the possibility to repeat a pattern or repeat a cycle when you've already learned the lesson, So, not to dwell on it per se, but not for, I feel like you can forgive, but not necessarily forget. And, if you did decide to move forward with this person, which is your free will, I feel like even if you forgive them, you still can move forward, but not forget. It's not like holding something over their head every day for the rest of their life, but you can't forget what they've done because you don't want to repeat things again. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. But I do feel that this person, because forgiveness, before I move on, sorry, forgiveness is more for you than it is for the other person. This person feels like they will feel lighter possibly with your forgiveness, but it's not meant for them. Forgiveness is more for you and for you to move on in your own mind and in your heart. So I do feel like this person at least wants forgiveness from you, and that probably is why they are going to reach out. But for a lot of them, they might even be trying to reconcile here. Okay, so spirit at the end of the day is telling you that, number one, this could be hidden from you. You might not, other than hearing this reading, know that this is coming. But at the end of the day, always follow your intuition. So if your intuition tells you to not talk with this person, that you've already gotten closure, you're healing, and you don't want to reopen wounds, you want to just keep moving forward, then by all means, you do that. Do not, you don't have to talk with this person. If your intuition is telling you to talk with them, then that is, then by all means you do that. Okay, whatever your gut, whatever your intuition is telling you, that is what spirit is saying. At the end of the day, is what you should be doing. And also, if you do decide to talk with this person, if you do decide to reconcile, then that is also, again, your decision. And go with what your intuition is telling you. Okay? All right. So at the bottom, we do have death. Okay. And death is, again, you know, it's an ending here. So obviously an ending has happened. For some of you, the ending, maybe it's something that's happening. Maybe it hasn't exactly happened yet. But I do feel for a lot of you, there are, you know, this has already happened. You know, I was feeling the sense of separation here. Okay. Maybe there hasn't been a conversation to actually put it to rest as of yet. Maybe that's what this conversation will be for a lot of you. But you know, I feel for a lot of you, you know, with death being here, I feel like you've already in your mind and your heart, you know, this is already over. You know, maybe you're transforming and you're growing and learning the lessons here from this situation. You're just embracing this as a lesson. Now, I do also feel with death though that at least for some of you out there, depending maybe on how this person comes toward you, that you know, maybe you do want to transform things with this person. You know, you want things to possibly be able to change for the better if you know, want to move forward with them. Okay. I'm not feeling that that's going to be the energy for all of you, but maybe some of you do feel that there is a possibility and the potential that things can be transformed between the two of you. But, you know, with death being here, you know, I do feel that, you know, it's definitely something that, you know, it's a connection that transformed you as a person. And I feel like that was a lot of what the goal was here, not just for you, but for this other person as well. All right. So I feel like spirit kind of wants you to just remind yourself that that is what this connection was meant for. Now, with the Four of Cups here, you know, there could be opportunities that you have overlooked because of this person being in your energy and lingering here. You know, maybe you've been in this energy of disappointment and feeling like, you know, you're depressed and, you know, thinking, you know, what could I have done, or what could I or we have done differently to make things go a different way. And, you know, in staying in that energy, you know, maybe you've been overlooking other opportunities here, you know. So I feel like, again, maybe that's why spirit, you know, is saying that now you're kind of moving in that energy where you just want to move forward. You know, you don't want to be, you're tired of being in this energy, you know. And with the Two of Wands being here as well, I feel like, you know, when this person comes in, you're going to have two paths to choose from. Do I want to hear them out or do I not? And then for those of you who do choose to hear them out, it's like, which direction do I go in then? And I know that it will probably depend on what this person says, how they present as far as their behavior. You know, are there any red flags that you're seeing or feeling? What's your intuition telling you? So I feel like this, whatever path is chosen, will be different for all of you, but you are going to be presented with, I believe, multiple crossroads moments here. Okay. So yeah. And again, you know, we're talking about a message here. Okay. So just be prepared for this communication. And of course it's coming, you know, just when you're moving forward and, you know, trying to get past this and heal, you know. All right. So additional signs, we've got Cancer, we've got Aries, and we have Scorpio. But all signs are here. Okay. All right, Capricorn. Well, I'm going to leave this reading here. I do hope it helped. I hope it brought you some clarity, some insight, some information. If you feel like it resonates, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, take care and namaste.